With this whole crypto space moving so fast, there's so much to learn. So I thought, hey, if I'm spending hours a day doing research in all of these things, that I should just condense it down and share them with you. I'll try and weed through all the noise so you can stay up to date on what's going on, and then we'll also talk about some upcoming projects and where I think the trend is heading. And if you're new here, hey, I'm Kevin, and on this channel, we talk strategies to help you along on your financial journey, even in crypto. So if that sounds good, let's jump right into it. So what's been going on the past week? Well, a few days ago on September 7th, Bitcoin officially became legal national currency in El Salvador, and also giving every one of its residents $30 in Bitcoin. That means people in El Salvador can transact, pay for things, and do your taxes in Bitcoin rather than the US dollar, which has been their national currency for quite a while now. I think this is a pretty net positive for the crypto industry as a whole, because it's showing that adoption for Bitcoin and other crypto is not slowing down. First, people started using it, then more technology was built on top of it, businesses started adopting it, and now countries are making it legal tender. But not everyone is happy. On the morning of September 7th, Bitcoin actually tanked from over $52,000 down to a low of $44,000, bringing the whole market down with it temporarily. Now, one of the most likely reasons is probably just because we've been going on an uptrend for the past few months already, so we were due for some sort of a pullback. But the other theory is that it was because of the International Monetary Fund, the IMF. The president of El Salvador even tweeted thanking the IMF for letting him buy the dip. The reason for that is because the IMF has been holding a pretty strong stance against El Salvador making Bitcoin legal tender, saying it sees legal and economic issues. It's probably because Bitcoin being a national currency legitimizes it a lot more and potentially allows countries to do business in crypto and Bitcoin. And because the IMF has such strong relations with countries and banks, that's not something they want to give up control over, which could be too late, because in the exact same week, both Panama and the Ukraine revealed ambitions to recognize and regulate Bitcoin and crypto, with Panama going as far as saying they want to make it legal tender as well. I think adoption is only going to start accelerating from here, especially in countries that don't have a stable currency, and we're not looking back. Real quick, if you're enjoying crypto content like this, be sure to tap that like button and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date. So speaking of regulation, earlier this week, the CEO of Coinbase, Brian Armstrong, shared their experience on how they're being blocked by the SEC on releasing their lending program, something lots of other exchanges like Kraken, Gemini, and BlockFi already have. He's also saying that the SEC is being really vague on why they think their lending program is a security and not taking an official stance on it, and also not having a level playing field, because they're singling Coinbase out and not really dealing with all these other companies out there. Maybe because they're the only publicly traded crypto company in the US, so they're trying to single them out. I think the SEC is really trying to hold back on giving an official stance because they're not sure how to even regulate these things in the first place, and they don't want to set any sort of precedents yet. But if Coinbase does take an offensive stance and take the SEC to court, like Mark Cuban suggests, then maybe the courts will put a precedent to that. And it's not like this is the first time. The SEC has been going to battle with Ripple over the XRP token for years now. It seems like a decision is probably going to come soon, and whatever the result of that decision is will probably have a ripple effect on the rest of the crypto industry. If Ripple wins, it's going to be a huge win and set precedents so the SEC doesn't go after all these other similar type of companies. But if they lose, then well, they're probably going to go after all these other companies as well. As a player in the crypto space, it's really frustrating to see that the US is trying to slow down innovation by trying to regulate every little thing. We're already locked out of so many amazing projects like ICOs and IDOs, launch pads. If the US keeps suppressing the growth and innovation of this space in this country, then we're gonna fall far behind of all these other countries. Alright, enough about governments. What's been happening in the crypto space too? With the most important thing being the launch of the Cardano smart contracts on September 12th, By the time this video is out, it's probably happened already, so it'll be really interesting to see how it affects the market. This has been years in the making with huge anticipation because Cardano is the third largest crypto by market cap, yet it doesn't have a functional smart contract yet. Because the developer experience on Cardano is a lot different than, say, EVM compatible chains, that it's probably gonna be a slower growth of adoption rather than suddenly spike in all these projects being launched on Cardano. Once DeFi projects start getting in on Cardano, it'll be really interesting to see where the money flows in DeFi land, since it's gone from Ethereum to places like Solana, and maybe it'll go to Cardano in the future. Speaking of DeFi, a lot of people are starting to catch on that Ethereum is near unusable with all these gas wars happening. When you're paying $70 to $100 at least per transaction you do on Ethereum, it's boxing out the majority of people. That's why the majority of other layer 1 solutions like Solana, which has gone up over 3x in the last month, Avalanche, Fantom, and others have been also going up too. That's because of much faster transactions, better user experience, and the best part is insanely low or negligible gas fees. There's been a huge rise in total value locked in these ecosystems too, which is in turn bringing more projects over, further pumping up the TVL and the price of the coin. On the NFT front, last week I mentioned that there was an auction going on for 101 Bored Apes. Well, that auction has since closed with a final price of $24 million. It's pretty insane to see the prices of this project, especially because this whole project was just created and started minting earlier this year. But that's not all. Soon, Christie's is gonna host an auction on PFP NFTs, which include Bored Ape, Meebits, and CryptoPunk, as well as Curio Cards, which is a project dating back to May of 2017. With that said, what's happening in the near future and what am I looking out for? Well, a big thing to remember is that 98% of NFTs are gonna go down to zero over time. While I don't think it's now, especially because Bitcoin predictions on the conservative side has put the price at about $100,000 by the end of the year. And because Bitcoin still drives the majority of the market, then we'll probably have at least a few more months left. Although trends of NFTs can shift before then. And even now, I'm starting to see a shift away from more PFP JPEG projects over to more metaverse, membership, and other types of projects. There's a growing trend of free mints too. And that makes sense because it's like in the real world where there's a lot of free-to-play games, but you can pay to add on stuff into the game. So for me, I think I'm gonna pull back on getting into a lot of NFT mints now, and instead focusing on just the most high quality ones, even if it means it's more expensive. These include projects like Solana Valley, a cute Farmville style metaverse that's being built by a docs team with experience in building games, DeRace, a game revolving around horse racing, betting, and breeding, to Galaxy Eggs because of its 2K resolution, highly detailed art. And while I'm pulling back on NFTs a bit, I'm also doing a lot more research into different crypto projects. First it was Ethereum, and then it was Solana. Although I don't think Solana is done yet. That's because you're still able to earn almost 100% APY on some of the more safer DeFi projects on Solana. That said, I am looking into other layer 1 solutions like Fantom and Avalanche to see what type of other opportunities are there on those projects. Cardano will also be interesting to see once smart contracts are out. One tool I'm finding really helpful for all of this is DeFi Llama, which allows you to see all the projects, lending, dexes, yield aggregators, and everything you really need to kickstart your research. Anyways, this space never ceases to amaze me. I rarely ever have that desire to go deep into something like crypto, and even though I've been doing that for hours every day for the last 6+ months, the fire is still there. I truly think that even if you're just wondering about crypto, DeFi, NFTs, and all this stuff, that you're still really early to the game. It's gonna benefit you so much just by getting exposure and watching this type of content, because I truly believe that this is our generation's chance to build wealth. That said, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy content like this, make sure to like this video and tap that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on new content. And as always, invest safe and see you in the next one.